And another one.
Another one.
We're here.
We are
We're
here.
here. Uh, again.
Yeah.
Again.
Funny backstory, right, Sway?
Yeah. Very interesting. Recorded yesterday. I think I hit the delete button on the wrong video. And I come to realize this like hours later.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, I really wanted to blame the platform, but something tells me it was me. Yeah, so I'm just gonna stop deleting things and just
I mean,
not touch anything. Just hit download and that's
it
it.
it happens to the best of us, and yeah, I'm still laughing about you. You were, I think, frantically messaging me last night saying, "I don't know where it went; it disappeared." But you used the perfect Chris Farley gif from Tommy Boy, where he's like pulling his hair
I'm
out. I'm
losing,
losing my
man.
mind, and I can hear it so perfectly in my head. So yeah, I mean, if nothing else, you had a
Yeah.
perfect use of a Chris Farley gif. So we'll just roll with it.
Let's find out! Let's find out!
Let's get into it. We had an amazing weekend. You shared with us and are going to share with us again some amazing updates for supermodels, some really cool stuff that you're doing with the Figma design, Figma make for the front end stuff. Last time we talked about like the user flow and how that progression is going to look like, and that really gets me excited. You're collaborating with designers. A lot of people just want to help out on both training, helping train the supermodels. We also had conversations last week where people would just want to hop in and test like the user feasibility. Like, is this really want to work? As we want to see you win, but we want to test supermodels to see what you guys, to see if this is even realistic and feasible,
Yep.
right? And we also have those artists who are just like they want to hop on board and just help with just the how everything is going to look as a whole. And tell us a little bit about that, Johnny, because I just love the community support,
Yeah,
man.
dude, and that's what it is, right? We've been wanting to build in community. We have been building in community via, right, showcasing our process via this podcast, talking things through with people in the Builders Club. But then, yeah, also just kind of like sharing with our, kind of friends and homies what we're working on. And the cool thing is like everybody's just down to like jump in and help out and contribute
Yeah.
however they can. Whether that's our friend Underworld, who's this amazing, right, sort of generative artist who, as soon as I talk to him, I'm like, dude, you are the Laura expert we need. Like he's creating custom styles by like mixing 11 different Lauras and just has such a deep knowledge of sort of Laura training and creating with custom Lauras, which again, supermodels are custom Laura's privately trained, personally owned that like you own, right? It's trained up on your body of work. But the people who we need to come around us are coming around us and jumping in and helping out. So we've got that going on. We've got friends who are incredible illustrators and artists that we're working on sort of prototype supermodels for them. I'll have some stuff to show around that, which is really fun. Getting some help from our friends in the product design world, sort of Zach Z consulting us
Yeah.
on these new sort of like AI powered product design workflows, which we've been working to sort of figure out and implement in a cool way. My buddy Steven, who was like product lead at Headspace, he was at Instagram for a while. He led the redesign on Levi's. He's been helping me with some design system stuff and like get that set up so we can plug that into AI and then rapidly prototype. So yeah, man, it's really cool. And just one of those things, it's like you share what you're doing and you just kind of like open it up for people to come in and help and participate, and you'll find that like everything you need is right around you and everyone you need is right around
Yeah.
you. So that's definitely been what's been going on the last couple of weeks as we continue to develop supermodels. So it's been really cool.
Yeah. Building a product this way is such a dream. Man, the only missing component is funding.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only
It's
thing.
so true.
Oh,
It's so true. And we've been talking about this, like there's a number of exciting projects we're both working on now, right? And there's like, man, there's so much cool stuff going on. None of it's funded quite yet. It's all sort of sweat equity, but we're absolutely earning it, And this is one of the things that I was just saying with Yvonne as well, because he's in the same boat. He's like, it'll come. The funding,
yeah.
the monetization, the money will come. We just have to keep doing what we're doing now, and it'll turn out. And I've quoted it a few times, but it's something Mikey said a few weeks ago, talking about this sort of crazy AI transition we're in right now, where it's like we're at the forefront, we're trying to figure these things out. But he said, we're uncomfortable right now because we're doing the thrashing early and we're going to be comfortable later. Whereas everybody who's doing like the ostrich method or just like not paying attention, they might be comfortable now, but they're going to be very uncomfortable later. So it's better we sort of like thrash early and figure out what we're doing, what we're building, and set ourselves up for, what's coming, because it's going to look very different than what we've got right now.
Yeah, when I started embracing this technology and really diving deep into it, it wasn't until like much later, like a year and 2 years later, where I started seeing the fruits of that labor and where I was trying to expand my network, connect with new people. Yes, with these tools, you're able to generate, iterate, and conceptualize and do things on the fly. But as far as the things that really matter, the network, the community, the people, the tribe that you're gonna build, that's not something instantly.
Yeah.
That's not something that just happens right away. Like Johnny and I, we've talked to you guys all about our media strategy, the content funnel, and all those things that matter. But really, there's this layer of like empathy. There's this layer of like admiration and really respecting like the artists that we like vibe with and are connected to. And I'm very happy that we have a platform where we can at least spotlight and shine these people. And even that, there's consequences. There people connect through that, in our spaces, in our podcasts, and it's something really beautiful to witness. Just relationships coming together. So whether the funding comes or not, we know for sure, right? If you don't win, you learn. For sure, these relationships will turn into something, perhaps not transactional, but it's all part of the human flourishing, all
Yep.
part of the human experience of growing and learning
Yep.
together. So positioning ourselves that way, it's really cool because I'm learning from you, you learning from me, and also that's a great opportunity to, introduce people to what we're building with supermodels, and that's exactly what we're doing with supermodels. We've seen the stuff that could be done with your body of work, Johnny, where you had this training data set of like up to 50 images of results that Jesse Metcalf was able to produce, who's our like lower expert and helping us with the engineering of supermodels. The results of that are very fascinating. You can go 2 episodes, 3 episodes back and get to see that. But now we're like stress testing. We're doing all sorts of trainings with different styles, hand illustration, typography, and all that sort of stuff. And it's really neat what we're doing with Phrase's work. You wanna kind of break down the style that Phrase does with his brand and the results that we're getting with it as well.
Absolutely. So yeah, our buddy Phrase, who many here may be familiar with, he hosted spaces with you last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever that was. He's playing in. He's doing a very different body of work now. He's doing some like generative stuff with code, and it's absolutely incredible. But this is sort of a style, a body of work, almost like a sort of creative business he's had and has been building on for the last like 15 years, I think he said. It's called Text Artist, TEKST. But essentially what it is it is typography as image. So he basically takes a silhouette, figures out a simple image, and then he actually takes copy. I forget exactly what this is, but it actually says something. And then he has this sort of unique kind of modular typography style he created that he can sort of form images, silhouettes out of it. So again, with the development of supermodels, like you mentioned, we had Jesse train up sort of this vector illustration style in some of my previous work, and then we were able to get some incredible results from it. But as Jesse said, like the data set was almost like too straightforward, too clean. Like we made it work, and now like let's try to break something. Let's see how far we can push some of these styles and some of the very unique use cases we can figure out using supermodels for. So Phrase has this style, again, this text artist style that we thought was absolutely perfect because it poses a lot of very interesting challenges, right? Like, not only do we have to sort of figure out this style and recreate it, we've got to figure out a way that we can sort of map a line of copy onto an image silhouette, provide that all to the AI, and have it render out these sort of finished pieces. So we're doing that in steps. And again, these are the examples. This is what Phrase had created sort of very tediously by hand. This is his training data set. So we fed this in. This isn't everything. There were a few more pieces, but it wasn't a huge amount. I think the initial run was maybe like 35 images or something like that. And that's really encouraging to see too, that we're getting really good results with not massive data sets, right? So here's the training data. Here's what we started with. This is just the first pass from the text artist prototype. So this is just nailing the style. So this is we still have to map on giving it a certain line of copy and then having it spell out in the image. But we wanted to get it basically nailing just the sort of overall style first. And these is the first pass, like the same thing with working with Jesse and like doing my first one, like the early sort of prototype pieces are absolutely incredible and further along than we could have hoped, right? You can see it's doing exactly what we want to do. So you can sort of pick your icon silhouette. You can pick I always forget which transformer, if this is what are the two different Decepticons. Yeah. So you could essentially pick your icon, your silhouette, have your copy, and then combine those, and the AI will sort of combine it to make like this very cool type as image iconic sort of style. So really awesome results. And again, we're just kind of getting started here. So stoked to kind of push this further, develop this. But again, this was, when I sent all this stuff to Jesse, I was like, dude, this is a crazy, I don't know if this will work. Like, this feels like a really crazy use case, but let's just see what's possible. And again, like all of this stuff is a first pass. It's like, all right, we're off to a very good start. And now we just have to figure out the other sort of pieces of the puzzle, which will be having sort of reference copy for this and creating almost these sort of, we were discussing this, we'll have to create these baseline actual fonts, kind of modular dynamic fonts that again will be created off of Phrase's existing pieces, but we need to map those out and actually make a font of them so the AI knows like this is an A, this is a B, this is a C. And then once we have that all connected, theoretically, we should be able to output these very quickly, which will just be an absolute game changer for Phrase because this is this amazing style he's developed over the last several years. He's done a lot of stuff with. He even has very large kind of current clients that are wanting to use this, but basically they want to use it in a way that is not like totally realistic or scalable for him. So that was one of the reasons we thought like, okay, let's try this out with supermodels and let's see if we can allow you to capture this style, own this style, but then scale your creative capabilities, in a way that like it opens up possibilities that wouldn't have been there previously, just because how effectively, how efficiently he could create this stuff. So pretty exciting.
Wow, really exciting. And we showed this to Phrase, and he was
Yep.
impressed. He was really impressed. And you definitely have to, you guys have to go check out his website. He does, he's been very successful with this brand, and he has a very successful shop as well for print on demand. So tons of cool work that you can see there, stuff that he's done, and the people that he's like done work for, like Tony Robbins, VaynerMedia,
Yep.
like Shazam. Like it's insane. And I know now that he's working with like this big client as
Yep.
well.
Yeah, something I
So
wanted to double
what?
click on really quick there. Sway, like one of the, and it's one of the things I don't think it's like totally landing with people yet, but this is a great example of it. Right. When we're talking about supermodels, one of the things I'm always stressing is like these are monetizable assets that you own. Like if you train up one of these models and you build this system, it becomes like this economic engine that you can do so much with. So, right, we were just mentioning Sway with the text artist style, like all of the right, he's worked with these amazing clients in the past, but again, like he's just kind of put this on the side because it's very tedious work, right? It's painstaking. It doesn't scale well. He had fun with it, but he's not necessarily in a place. He's got kids now. Like he can't just like be
Right, right,
doing
right.
these crazy typographic pieces day and night. So with his supermodel, think about the sort of creative businesses he will be able to build just on this model. You mentioned, right? He's already got set up to do prints and stuff through this. Imagine he can have a website now in which he's got his supermodel trained. Somebody can pay per generation to say, like, I want a portrait of my kids. Here's a note they
Yeah.
wrote me. Here's a birthday card they wrote me that I absolutely love. I want that to be basically an image of my child. I can put that in. It generates a typographic portrait of your kid. Not only do you now have that sort of image, but you can get that on a print, get that on a t-shirt, connect that to these print on demand services that Sway has already set up with. And like you have this cash flow generating, very unique, very niche business that like you just turn that puppy on, man, and start promoting and marketing it. And like the supermodel is scaling your creative capabilities and allowing people to engage with this unique style, this unique sort of artifact that you've created, but now it's kind of fully dynamic and it's whatever they want it to be. It just opens up so many cool possibilities.
Oh yeah, man. And tell us also that you have a buddy who has a body of work trained on his like tattoo
Yep.
style. And he has a successful tattoo business, and where he sells like the tattoo like stickers
Yep.
on vending
Yep.
machines, and you talk to him about supermodels, and his mind went just like,
Yep.
okay, I'm thinking now digital vending machines using my style, my
Yep.
DNA.
So yeah, my buddy Landon Armstrong, who we're training up another sort of prototype supermodel on, incredible. He sort of started as like a almost like a comic book illustrator. He's a lead game designer, lead artist for a game studio now. He does show posters for the likes of like Metallica, Blink 182, 311. But he's had this freelance client for years, I think over 10 years now. And it's this vending company. And he does basically temporary tattoos and sticker designs for them. So like if you see like a quarter vending machine, you know, in front of the grocery store or whatever, chances are Landon is the one that illustrated those pieces in there. And again, he's a very high level artist, like uh probably higher level than they're used to working with in sort of that kind of business. And so he's been working with them for 10 years, but part of the agreement was like, I will give you these designs and essentially license them to you to use in the vending machines, but the IP is mine. So like I own everything. So really, really smart. The same way that like Von Doom saw the opportunity when he was building these games for people, he said like, I'll build the game, but those 3D assets are mine because those are valuable and I
Yeah,
want to
you
do
saw the
something with
future.
them. Landon essentially did the same thing with this, right? These like tattoo and sticker designs. So he's got this insane body of work now, probably hundreds or thousands of pieces. and a bunch of different styles in that. So I said, like, dude, let's train up not just one supermodel, let's train up a couple of supermodels for you based on these different styles. So he sent us again kind of training data sets. Jesse Metcalf has those. He's training those up. But we were brainstorming about, again, thinking about the possibilities and the business opportunities that having one of these supermodels opens up to you as an artist. Again, like our whole thing is like, let's create an AI product that empowers artists instead of like corporations, right? It's been backwards up to this point. Like when you own this stuff, you can take full advantage of the incredible capabilities, and it benefits you. It doesn't benefit, just some other corporation. So one of the things we were chatting about with Landon, very similar to the kind of business concept I was just discussing with Phraze, I was like, dude, we could do, I mean, his like temporary tattoo designs, like he's got sick tattoo style. So even if somebody said like, I want to use Landon's tattoo sort of supermodel, but I want it to be a hammerhead shark with a right a really cool anchor, and I want it to have like these colors in it, you could essentially just prompt that, get a fully custom, like professionally done, unique, personalized tattoo design out of this thing, which you can then go and take to a tattoo artist and get tattooed. Landon's got an entire sleeve that he actually designed himself and then just had like a tattoo artist execute on. So like it's a legit like tattooable style. Or the other thing we were talking about was like this digital vending machine where it's like, oh, I want like Landon sticker style, but I want a sticker of my dog Winnie like on a skateboard, right? And so again, I can type that in. I pay Landon per generation of these sort of images using his style. I get my custom sticker, but then Landon can hook that up to a print on demand service like Printful, and the user could instantly say, I want this on a t-shirt, I want this on a sticker, I want this on a print, hit order, hit add to cart. It all happens in the background. Landon doesn't have to do anything, right? The supermodel is doing the generation work up front, and then the print on demand service is doing the sort of print and fulfillment in the background. So like meanwhile, Landon's just like doing his thing, working on, new work, and he's got this sort of cash flow generating business that's just running for him in the background. So it really does like open up the creative economy in an exciting new way.
What's crazy, dude, is that it's like it's not that difficult to convince people to start using supermodels. And one would think, right, we need to sell people on the idea of what supermodel, how supermodel works, but it's not even about that. It's about what supermodels can do for you. It's like, and how it could help you scale and think about, those business ideas that are extremely unique and that you have full knowledge of. Like these are people that, for example, Phrase, he's not unfamiliar with the print
Yep.
world, right? So he knows how to do that well. So for him to scale with supermodels in that arena is gonna be butter. Your friend, he understands like the vending machine, how that system
Yep.
works and what it takes. Supermodels is just gonna help him scale, accelerate, and just move faster, sell more. And I think Patrick will be a great first customer, for your buddy, since Patrick wants a
Yeah.
supermodel tattoo sleeve.
Yeah.
So let's start with stickers first, Patrick.
Yeah. Patrick's ready for the full sleeve. Dude, he got an inquiry sort of appointment set with this crazy tattoo machine in New York that like you have this robot arm tattoo you, and you can feed like these crazy, like intricate designs into it. And then it just like covers your sleeve. So yeah, we're going to build another kind of supermodel for Patrick's sleeve supermodel, and then get him tattooed by a robot.
Oh man, I can't wait for
Yeah.
that. Can't wait for that. Dude, show us a little bit of where your brain is at as far as like the user experience with supermodels.
Cool.
So I am ready. We've talked about that we really need to be transparent and clear of who supermodels is for. I think people understand the context. You need to have a large body of work, some good training data for supermodels. That way you can take it into a platform like something like what Johnny is building right over here, where he went from wireframes to now a mock, a high fidelity mock design of how that user flow training your model will look like.
So
What's going on here?
So yeah, what we're looking at here is like still right, very basic, very straightforward, but we've got like a pretty solid first pass at like the front end design of the product, what that's going to look like, how that's going to function. And the way we built this is pretty fascinating and interesting because right, we wanted to build in a way where we're not being too sort of precious upfront. We're sort of being fluid the entire way, like trying to get a product up and out there, but it's going to be right this iterative process that we're going to be hearing from users, our beta users, as we sort of onboard them, taking their feedback, refining the product. So we wanted to start like with a real simple sort of baseline and something again that we could rapidly sort of prototype and iterate on. So it was really important from the beginning to say like, okay, we want to figure out how to leverage all of these new sort of AI capabilities within Figma and sort of plugins and other places so that we don't have to be designing this sort of screen by screen and like being too precious. Again, like as you know, Sway, like we're bootstrapping this, like we're getting help from our friends,
All
but
right.
like it's all just kind of like sweat equity right now. So it's like, okay, how do
Yep.
we pull this off as efficiently as possible? And to do so took a little bit of upfront work to figure out the best way to do this. Again, shout out Zach for sort of like consulting and giving us pointers. Shout out to my buddy Steven, who's a product designer and helped sort of define the system. But what you're seeing here is we took Google's Make 3 design system, which is like a pre-built sort of design system with all sorts of like typography, hierarchy, color palettes, cards, icons, all of that stuff. We used that as a starting point. We then modified it for the Supermodels brand, right? Just like picking our type, picking our color, some basic styling options. But now we have this like super modular design system that we can do a ton of stuff with and has all of these different sort of cards and assets that we will be needing. And then experimented with sort of using Figma's built-in AI tools to sort of create that, but we ended up using this UXPilot.ai, which I used back for like the original wireframes for the product, upgraded so that I could do sort of hi-fi designs. And then from there, I was able to make like a custom supermodels design system, which is that Google Make sort of
Mhm.
design system I mentioned. So I was essentially able to copy all of that in as components for this AI to work with. And then I basically used Claude. I have this Claude project that like everything I've ever sort of created and discussed about supermodels is in this Claude project, so it has all of the context. So I can very quickly say like, "Hey Claude, take that wireframe for screen one that we made a couple weeks ago, but skin it out as a high fidelity design. Have it sort of reference the design library." And these are the results we got. So it's a little bit of like back and forth and getting that stuff to work properly. But now we've got it in a decent place, and we can very quickly right start to build a landing page. And a lot of this right all of this content is copy is just kind of like placeholder. But you see it's like very straightforward structure of what you would see for like a SaaS landing page. But the main thing again is we wanted to map out like, okay, what does the product look like? What do these screens look like? What does it look like to choose all your training data, begin to upload that,
Mm.
train with a different focus. Are you doing a style training? Do you want to do a character training, or is this a brand training? Right, those will create some various different options when you continue to configuration. Within configuration, you can select how many training steps, how fine is the tuning on this, what is your base model, right? And again, like we're trying to get a baseline of sort of tiers and what that might look like, but all sort of theoretical placeholding at this point. So you kind of configure, right? You can set some sort of captioning options and then starts to train your supermodel, you know, kind of outputs some like training samples as it's going. You see just kind of like
Cool.
readout of what's happening during training here. And then you get your sort of finished, trained up retro illustration style. You could start generating with it. You could very quickly deploy it to something like Comfy. You can download the model, right? Again, it's yours. You own it. You can do what you want with it. So again, early first pass, just focusing on these main kind of workflows, these main screens within the product. Little bit of experimentation and trial and error with getting some basic design systems loaded into these kind of AI tools so we can very quickly prototype. But we've got a starting point to work from now, right? And we'll be working iteratively,
Yeah.
refining, creating custom icons for all this stuff when the time comes. But again, didn't want to be too precious too early. Said like, let's just get
Right.
a baseline. Let's get the product out here, and then let's share it with people and get their feedback, and then make it better as we go.
Yeah. The only thing here missing, Johnny, is at the end, that last page is just a download option where we can download the supermodels badge, certification of authenticity, right?
That's
Train the
right. Yep.
supermodels.
A
Yeah.
100%.
And yesterday we were talking about Keith Haring, and you were looking for a specific quote
Yes.
to reference the idea of supermodels. And Keith Haring almost saw the future, right? As soon as he had his hands on like a computer for digital to do digital art, I think he got it immediately. So this quote says, "I like the idea that my art could be on a floppy disk." Let's replace floppy disk on a
Yep.
supermodel, right? I like the idea that my art could be on a supermodel. You can send the supermodel back and forth and even send the information by, I don't know, email.
Yeah.
Someone could take those images as a starting point, the raw material, and do whatever they want with them.
Thank you for pulling this up. And it was so crazy when you shared this because it was several weeks ago. I was, this happens every weekend where you and I will like actually step away from our computers and get to take a walk. But then we'll just get all of these crazy ideas and we'll circle back Monday or send each other voice notes and be like, oh, dude, we could do this, this, and this. Anyway, I was having one of those moments a couple weekends ago. And I was thinking about like the rollout of supermodels and how we could do it in a way where we could potentially, and it's so funny. I was like, I use Keith Haring as the example. I was like, okay, supermodels is all about AI that, right, are privately trained and personally owned. So what if we could essentially work with like the estate of Keith Haring to train up a Keith Haring supermodel based on his body of work, have it be sort of accredited, right, by the Keith Haring estate, and people could then use that and interact with it because, right, he was this incredible artist. He saw some success when he was alive, but he died very young. I forget if it was like 27 or 33, but just kind of tragically died very early in life. So his work has gotten more popular in recent years, right? There was some Instagram ad of some new streetwear brand that's doing like a collab with Keith Haring, and it's incredible. But there's only so much of his work. He produced a fair amount when he was alive, but like there are only so many pieces that are available for licensing. There's only so many patterns, and you're starting to see like the brands that kind of license this stuff and do these things, you start to see already it's just like the same designs over and over and over again. So my thought was like, man, what if you could take Keith Haring's body of work, train up a supermodel, and then you could produce new pieces based off of that and do so really faithfully. We've already seen with like
Yeah.
the supermodels we've trained, like the stuff that's made on my illustration style, like I feel a deep connection to. I'm like, oh, I'm in there. My sort of aesthetic choices are in there, right? They're just programmed in this amazing way that allows it to scale. So I think if you did that with an artist like Keith Haring, you would get these very sort of like faithful, not just reproductions, but this expansion of his style, and it's going to inherit like
Oh
his
yeah.
line quality, his sort of line work, and the possibilities that would open up from a licensing standpoint, and like the different uses you could sort of apply to that. I was saying when our previous recording of this, like he's got that iconic barking dog, right? That's like such a good design, such a distinct style. Like, say I'm a cat guy, so I want a cat version of the
Yeah.
Keith Haring dog. And with the Keith Haring Supermodel, I could absolutely do that. And then I could apply it on whatever I want. And again, that is owned by, I don't know who owns his estate or what that looks like, but whoever controls that should control the supermodel. It should go back to them.
Of course.
So, what if we could create this Keith Haring sort of accredited, validated supermodel that people could use, interact with, produce work with, and then it goes back to the Keith Haring estate as it should be. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, Keith wanted us to do it. So
Oh, totally, totally. And managing for an estate like that, managing a supermodel could be many things, right? There's many ways to go about it. Either you go about, the phrase approach, or the estate could hire an art director and just manage the output, or they can pair an artist with the supermodel to co-create, collaborate with the supermodels. And even I would say that an artist paired with a supermodel will have more authenticity than the artist just like being inspired by the visual
yep,
work. um
yep,
so
absolutely,
yeah, that'll be really neat.
dude. And like it happens. It's going to happen anyway, where it's like that iconic style is going to live in, and you already see it with artists that basically, right, as somebody who's like created a bunch of different illustration styles and produces this stuff, this is the way it works. Like there's already people like, I think it's Mr. Sketch or something, or like Timothy Goodman, who like their style is very much based on Keith Haring's approach, right? They're putting their own twist on it, but they're definitely like that soul of his work. Their
Hmm.
style wouldn't exist if it weren't from him. So it's like that stuff already happens on just like a human to human level, and I think that's rad. But again, to your point, like if you want like a real sort of faithful, it feels like Keith Haring is existing through this work in another way. It's his supermodel paired with an artist, like you said, and you're just going to get some incredible results. So, dude, that's on my wish list. Like, I want to make that happen for supermodels, and you've been like somehow pulling calls with like all of these CEOs. So, next assignment, Sway, get us in touch with Keith Haring's estate, and like, let's make this thing
I'll
happen.
try. I'll try. Yeah, as a matter of fact, last night I was looking for it now while you were talking about Keith. I was looking through the Facebook marketplace. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I found a vintage 1980 Keith Haring jacket
Dick.
for 40
Yep,
bucks.
dude.
So I'm like, man, should I get it? Should I
40
get it?
bucks. You should get that.
40 bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it has like a members only. I don't know
Yeah.
what members only.
That's dope.
Yeah. I'm like, thinking about it. Thinking about it. So really cool, man. Really cool. Well, thanks for the supermodel updates, and I'll try to reach out to the Keith Haring estate and report back
I like it.
next
Let's
week.
go. Yeah.
Yesterday, I was sharing with you how Procreate announced like over 150 something new
Yep.
brushes created by Kyle T. Webster
Shout out Kyle
over
T.
here,
Webster.
who's a mad scientist on brushes, and coming from who was previously formerly employed at Photoshop or Adobe, and he did a bunch of brushes there, and I have a bunch of his brushes downloaded on my Adobe Fresco, which I'm enjoying quite a lot. And I think since last year, or 2 years ago, he started working with Procreate on these brushes, and I want to share with you this video that I have here, and maybe I know you spotted something, Johnny, that you appreciated here since you're a Procreate
Yep.
user. Check this out.
Yeah. Just even like, and again, like you, I had Kyle. So Kyle was out there like putting out brushes way back in the day, and he was doing a bunch of Photoshop brushes. It's just an independent creative, and then they did so well that he actually got a deal with Adobe to create all of these sort of in-house
Wow.
brushes for Adobe. Right, he did a run with them, and now he's moving to Procreate. But just an example of again the sort of creative economy, and when creatives have the abilities to sort of create these creative assets, these pieces that are then useful for other creatives, it creates this economy where we can not only be creating art and things, but we can be creating the tools we use to produce that, and selling and buying that amongst each other. So it creates this real nice little insular creative economy. Again, this is one of the goals of Supermodels, is like we want to have a model
Yep.
marketplace where it's like Kyle T. Webster Supermodel, right, with his brushes. So if I want to render stuff out, and that I hadn't really thought about this until I just said it, like supermodels or custom AI models may be the evolution of brush sets. Because now,
Ooh.
like, look at the style of that illustration there. Like, that
Wow.
is a style. So
Yeah.
you take that brush, you
Yeah.
produce a bunch of work, and then you have a supermodel that could very quickly render stuff out. Like, that's the next evolution of this sort of creative goods economy.
Stop coming up with great ideas, Johnny.
I can't stop,
Damn it,
Sway.
I'm about to lose it. I'm gonna lose it. But it's cool that you can just build things, right? And you can lean on your strengths. Cal is the brush guy. He's obviously does a lot of amazing work on top of that, but he definitely leaned on it, and God knows how, he's made a killing, with that alone. And he made a brand out of himself,
Yep.
with his brushes. So everyone in the design, art, illustration community knows who Kyle Webster is. So speaking of, you can just build some stuff. I mean, we were having fun using Nano Banana in Adobe's boards, Firefly boards, and someone just built a Nano Banana plugin for Photoshop. So they got ahead of Adobe, and I was looking at the threads. Even Adobe was giving them a shout out, kind of like patting them in the
Nice.
back, good job. And dude was selling it. It was like, I think you could pay whatever you want inside his Gumroad page to get access to it. But it's really neat that that Adobe is opening up to other models, and they're really opening up to the creator economy. So that's really neat. I know that plugins are not new to Photoshop, but they're encouraging it more because you can do things now with these like vibe coding tools. So check this out, Johnny.
This is so crazy to me. Like, that is so crazy to me that it gets the type right and the style right.
Dude.
Really impressive. And dude, this feels like the evolution of what, like, the core use of Photoshop, right? Was like collaging things, sort of making these like impossible combinations of images, previously modifying images. So this feels like such a natural, the Nano Banana and the context aware sort of like editing feels like
Yep.
such a natural evolution of what Photoshop is and what Photoshop is about. Um, Dude, and just on steroids, right? Like, these
Oh,
capabilities are
absolutely.
insane. Such Does such a good job.
Wow. Look at that.
Wow. Yep. Dude,
Yep.
this blows
Right
my
up your alley
mind.
right
Yeah.
here.
The fact
There it is.
I don't understand that, because like AI has not been good with type up to this point, and the fact that it could see a few letters, say like, okay, this style of lettering, the D looks like this, so I'm going to reverse engineer what an M in the same font style would look like, and it pulls it off really well. And I'm sure like that'll be glitchy, right? And you'll run into issues, but based on the results we're seeing thus far, it's just insane.
Yeah. It's pretty mind blowing. And last week we had Disco Inferno Johnny and Cowboy Sway.
Yeah.
We tend to have fun with these tools, but it's great to see some like real world use cases for design and portrait work. And it's crazy. And the thing is, this is not even limited to like Photoshop. Like you have a bunch of other open source like tools, alternative Photoshop tools that have access to these models as well. It's just Adobe has a larger grab of the market over here. So it's just neat, and they make it easy. The whole process of like the credit system, all that is just streamlined, and there's no hoops that you have to jump. So they're adopting this technology. That's a plus for them, and they're listening to the people, which I am very surprised, because yesterday I commented on one of their videos on YouTube, and they replied back like literally 5-10 minutes, in 5-10 minutes, thanking me for my feedback, blah 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 blah. So
They're
and
engaged.
that's really
Yeah.
neat, right? They're engaged, and definitely now, and I've said it before, the difference between now is not only AI. It's like, oh, because of AI, it's because developers and engineers are listening. They're listening, and they're listening to what the community wants, and they're
Yep.
responding to it. um
Software development is a much more fluid process now than it used to be, right? It used to be sort of like
oh
you
yeah.
would build these things in a silo, sort of deploy them. You maybe have some sort of like help center context. But like now it's ongoing and it's constant, and because these AI breakthroughs are happening so often, it's just like this constant cycle of shipping new stuff, and you've got to have user feedback from the very beginning, because it's all
Yep.
happening in these very early stages. So it's this much more kind of fluid communal process than it used to be, which is cool to see.
Premiere announces 90 plus effects and transitions. This is the OG Film Impact plugin company, which I think they acquired a while back, maybe a year ago. So, implementing this system inside Premiere was a fairly simple, I will assume, a fairly simple thing to do. But this right here, this video that you're about to see, last week, Premiere announced a mobile editing app, which makes it easy for you to just trim your video, add music, add voiceover, generate your voice, generate video, and just content create and edit on the fly. So let's watch this minute clip, and let's see what you guys think.
I'm really excited about these tools, right? The sort of like the intro user version of Premiere, like getting generative capabilities, because somebody who's like, right, that's not my primary skill set, is like editing, but I've always wanted just like basic functionality to like cut up clips, sort of stitch them together what I want, the way I want, add music. And then add in some like generative capabilities on top of that is like really exciting for me, because I've just like, right, I don't have the same sort of understanding of the application and the skill set the same way you do. So like to see these sort of like, yeah, intro versions of the apps that now have AI capabilities is really exciting.
Yeah, look what this person is doing. They're generating sound
That's
effects
nuts.
and adding it to their
Yeah.
timeline. So they don't have to hop into like a stock marketplace. Everything is right
And
there.
also they're doing it on a
You know, gen-
phone.
let's watch this video right here, which kind of glosses over the 90 effects that Premiere just added um, on their systems.
There we go. Oh yeah, all sorts of cool transitions and effects.
Yeah. The transitions are really neat.
And those like it's those little touches that make all the difference in an edit, right? Um,
Oh yeah, dude. The YouTube comment that I made was like, I said to them, this is what Final Cut had over you guys. This is what CapCut had over you guys. And I'm glad to see that you're responding with this because damn, it's about time. I read another comment that says, like, seriously, after 14 years, but I'm glad that you did it.
yeah.
Um,
Better
so
late than never, right? Oh, we got something. We got something.
for sure. This is like a 30-second, just me experimenting with the different blurs, light
Ooh,
effects.
that's
We got some
cool.
mosaic happening in here, and other like echo effects. These are really neat. So stuff that you can use like in music videos, very stylized kind of things, like some glint, some chromatic aberration, light leaks, and some other funky stuff. Then I from here I think I started, yeah, some like 3D spins. This is just drag and drop effects that you can add to your timeline. And I just stacked a bunch of effects over here in a mosaic
Nice.
kaleidoscope transition. And that's just like me noodling and really just not really doing anything quote unquote
Yeah,
professional.
just throwing
So
down some transitions.
y- yeah, they also have a dashboard for these effects, which makes it really nice. Um, so I love that visual, those visual options. And dude, Comfy UI, they announced yesterday that they're going to offer a feature for you to like render your like node system, your setup for image generation, video generation. You can start using the cloud now, so you don't need a crazy GPU like what I do over here in NVIDIA 4090. Um, I believe this is going to be a subscription. It's, like it says down here, is going to be a simple subscription to use Comfy UI. Cloud, it'll be price based on your GPU usage. So I'm assuming you get to select what GPUs you can use, and not counting the time you spend creating the workflow when the GPU is idled. So that's really neat.
Dude, and this is
This is just like,
such a game changer because that was such a limiting factor for who could run Comfy, because if you didn't have a crazy setup like yourself, it was just like not on the table for you. So this will really open it up to more people, which again is perfect for us and supermodels, because like, man, you plug your supermodel into Comfy UI and all of their capabilities. You can now apply your video to text to image, image to image, image to video, sketch to image. Like a lot of those capabilities we we're sort of demoing early on, that is a supermodel plugged into Comfy UI. So now like I can have all of this and I can run it on like my Mac Mini or my MacBook Pro. Absolute game changer.
really cool. Well, I'm glad that we did this again. I'll try not to hit
Don't
delete.
delete it, Sway.
Okay.
Dude,
Yeah, this podcast.
I love that I love on this recording too, we just no sold your sunglasses the entire time. Just not a mention of them until now. You wore those yesterday,
Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
a big
It's
big
normal.
topic of conversation, but this week we're like, no, Sway's just wearing these. We're just gonna roll with it.
Yeah. It's
Just how we do.
it should be not. I set the expectation now. Every episode should be a surprise.
New
So
pair of novelty sunglasses.
yeah, I need to set a budget for all of
Yeah.
that. So, well, it was nice. It was nice talking to you, Johnny. This video has to go up in a couple of minutes, and it was great getting some supermodel updates and talking about tools. And to wrap up, we have to end with a quote. We don't have to expand on it, but we can just leave the people with the
Do
thought
it.
of this quote
Love it.
that I'm getting from the creative act
Mr.
by
Rubin.
Rick Rubin. Mr. Rubin himself, failure is the information you need to get where you're going. Just let that sink in.
Sit with that until we see you
Sit
next
with that.
week.
Yep. And we will see you next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This should be dropping today, Tuesday, and we'll see you on Friday, morning with our augmented conversation spaces on X.
Let's go.
Peace.